Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Marshal Kramer Show. I am Marshal Kramer, and this is my show here at the North Shore today. North Shore here in Minnesota. We are currently in Silver Bay, Minnesota at Black Beach with this beautiful view behind me. As you may see, at this rare time of year, we have a unique species. I've never seen this type of species of land animal before.
I've never seen this type of species of land animal before.
Sea, amphibious, they may say. Sea animal. What you'll see at this time of year, we need to be quiet now as we look over my shoulder. What we're going to see is we're going to see a male of this species. Now, it's a lone single male. Right before mating season, he's preparing his brioche in the sun for the whole day. Yeah, I've actually never been up here in the North Shore, believe it or not, being a Minnesota native my whole life. I've lived in central Minnesota, and I really haven't done too much traveling. I was always one of those individuals that was like, oh, I gotta go travel, man. Gotta go see California, gotta go see Florida, gotta go see Texas, gotta go see Arizona, which are all beautiful places, but I was just naive and I guess biased against my own home area and hometown, man. I mean, even the hometown I grew up in, there was plenty of different things to see, but I was like, oh, it's so boring, just nothing but trees and flat land. But this is incredible here. I actually, for the first time, it's, again, not saying giving validation to the fact that I don't travel too much around here in Minnesota. This last summer, not even the summer, this last October, I mean. So it would have been just about 8 months ago. That was the first time I ever went to even southern Minnesota. I went to Red Wing, which is, again, right along that. For people who don't know the topography of Minnesota, it's very flat. I think that's because the glaciers missed us or something, carving out all the hills in XYZ. But right along the entire shore, all the way from the south, which you have kind of actually in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and you get a little bit up to Winona, like super hilly. Then you get up to like Red Wing, and then you can go up to Stillwater, which is literally just east of the Twin Cities, and then you go all the way up to North Shore, get to Duluth, and there's more like in the like Hibbing and stuff like that. I don't even know where Hibbing is. Hibbing may be down south. I do not know. Again, I got to travel more about my state, travel more in my home state. It's a beautiful state, and this was so beautiful. But what I was getting at with the southern Minnesota is it ain't got the hills like this place, man. Like apparently I was looking up, I got some Duluth history. This is actually 45 minutes north of Duluth, which Duluth is basically the economic hub of the northern Minnesota, I would say. Beautiful city. We actually are staying on the other side of Superior, Wisconsin, but spending the day out in Duluth and then coming over the bridge and staying in Superior, Wisconsin. Night and day differences between those two twin cities. Those two twin cities, not the Twin Cities, St. Paul and Minneapolis, but those two twin cities joined together to form two ports. Yeah, they got their ports, and it's just so cool. We saw a ferry, we saw those shipping containers, and I know you can get them in like San Diego and other port bays and Tampa and stuff like that. I know that, but it was just a 2-hour drive from where I live, and it just felt like we went to a totally different place. It's like a total resort town, and yeah, but like I was saying, it's like Duluth is super hilly. And another thing I read in their article is that, and my buddy told me this, he knew this a little bit about Duluth. He's like, oh yeah, apparently they say it's like San Francisco. And I'm like, well, I've been to San Francisco, motherfucker. I will be the judge of this. And Jesus Christ, like, dude, like I was saying, versus down south, you got those things called bluffs, which basically, think about it, right? It's a bluff. They're bluffing. It kind of seems like a mountain because it's just like a super high incline at a super dramatic pace, but it's not really that tall. But dude, in the streets of Duluth, man, they get up, brother. And apparently Duluth has 2 different airports. Yeah, Duluth has 2 different airports, and one I think is regional, but the other one's international. And at its peak, it's at 1,400 feet. And again, I know that's not like ridiculous for some people in some different states, but here in Minnesota being super flat, it's actually pretty cool. Here's another thing that I did not learn, right? It's maybe that Duluth just has dramatic changes, right? It's sea level, right? Maybe it's not sea level. It is a lake, so it's probably close to sea level. I don't know. God damn it, I didn't pay attention enough. But anyway, and then it dramatically just inclines to fucking 1,000 feet. So it's like, it seems like it's really big, especially to the flat prairie Minnesota. However, I was looking at like the average elevation of Duluth versus like the average elevation of other parts in Minnesota. And like, again, this could all be off and vary a little bit, but I think that, like I said, the airport was at 1,400 feet, which I think was one of the peaks of the city. But like the average is around like 800, 850. I actually saw like 750, but let's give the benefit of the doubt. Let's say it's like 850. St. Paul is like 1,000. Rochester's like 1,100. Bemidji is like 1,400. And that's in the middle of the state up in the forest. but you probably don't notice because you just slowly, incline as you go up the miles into the forest. Maybe you don't notice it. Kind of like, I don't know, like I went out to Big Bear in California, but if you're right off the beach and you look inland right at the valley, I mean, there's immediate mountains, right? Just like it is here, because the water carved down, it's immediate mountains. But you go out to like Big Bear, it took a while to get up there, It still had some dramatic hills, way bigger hills than it does here in Minnesota. But interesting, man. I've never been here before, and I really like it, man. I'm here with my buddy, and I'm kind of having a good time. I know I'm not in Duluth, but I did some research on Duluth. I kind of want to talk a little bit about Duluth, just as a first timer here, giving my impressions on it and giving a little bit of history, learning a bit of history myself, and just kind of learning a little bit more of it. So Duluth actually, obviously, was started by one of the Chippewa tribes, and Duluth for them meant a little portage. And basically, what Duluth was became a big hub for trading. It became the sixth stopping place where northern and southern branches of these tribes, these are the stopping places where Native Americans occupied during their western migration as the Europeans overran their territory. So I just want to shout that out there, It's pretty cool here, seeing Asafu casinos and stuff like that. That's kind of like a weird thing about, and I'm not trying to get political, that's like the weird thing. We were just driving up here, and I can't remember which city it was, but it was literally nothing, right? I mean, I don't know where you guys are from, but in Minnesota, man, I mean, there can be, even in California, I mean, if you drive in between LA and San Francisco up, I mean, it's just nothing. A lot of this is nothing, right? We migrate into cities. But we're just driving, and there was nothing, absolutely nothing. And all of a sudden, we're just on the road, and we round this corner, and next thing you know, I see like a hotel building-ish type thing that had like 6 stories. And I get closer, and there it is. It's a casino. One gas station, one like Subway, and then boom, back to literally nothing in the middle of nowhere. That's kind of like kind of an odd thing. But yeah, I just wanted to shout that out. One of the Chippewa tribes. So yeah, it became the first post for fur trading. Oh, never mind. The first post for fur trade in this area was actually in Superior, Wisconsin. So like I said, once again, Duluth is the bigger side. It's in Minnesota there, really, really hilly. You go on a bridge across the canal, I guess, the canal of Lake Superior, the beautiful, gorgeous Lake Superior. Dude, I'm like looking down where I come from. I actually have a cabin on one of the dirtiest lakes in Minnesota. So we're literally not even used. I'm dead ass. We're literally not even used to seeing an inch sometimes, especially when it gets hot and it starts getting in the summer. So much algae growth, we can't see shit. But here I'm looking down, man. I can see 12 feet down. It's like clear as day. It's gorgeous and beautiful, man. I'll make sure to pick up my plastic and keep this place as nice as I can. Try not to put my oils as much as I can on these places. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So Superior, Wisconsin is on the other side. It's very flat. As you can imagine, it's literally sea level-ish, but it's a little bit smaller too. It's about a third or the fourth of the size. But that is where the first fur trading post was, later developed as Fort St. Louis. So this is St. Louis County. I don't know if I imagine it's not St. Louis County over in Wisconsin, but right here, obviously, it is St. Louis. Dude, there's a lot of states. Speaking of St. Louis itself, St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis, Missouri is right on the border of Missouri and then right next to Illinois. I don't know which little town it is, Illinois. Obviously, St. Louis is the bigger side. But that's the same thing on the opposite side of Missouri. You got Kansas City, Missouri, which is literally on the border of Missouri and Kansas. And it's just weird. It's like borders. They're just so arbitrary. It's like, all right, here's the water. You stay there, we stay here. And we're all going to go back and forth all day long and work and live, but that's your place, is our place. You pay taxes there, I pay taxes here. That's your county, this is our county. It's just, it's funny. But later known as Fort St. Louis, the post became the headquarters for the Northwest's Fond du Lac Department. And it had stockaded walls and 2 houses, 40 feet each, a shed of 60 feet, and a warehouse and a canoe yard. Wow. Came a long fucking way since then. Over time, Indian people and European Americans settled nearby, and a town gradually developed at this point. Ladies and gentlemen, I am sorry to interrupt, but I believe I have to do so I'm able to pay Duluth some justice. I don't know what happened. I guess maybe I got distracted, or it was my first time recording outside and around people, and I was kind of a little bit nervous. I was like sitting there, I'm like, how much do they hear of this? What are they listening to? Like, are they just hearing random words or random sentences? And I don't know. I just was a little bit shy, I guess. So I forgot a lot of things in my notes that I wanted to talk about, and they were basically the whole notes about what Duluth is known for. I think I talked a lot about Duluth's history history, but I just have to shout these things out. So first off, University of Minnesota at Duluth. That's a dope college they got there. I know a lot of friends that went there. A great university. Also, the College of Saint Scholastica. Me and my friend, we were just randomly driving on the road, I think heading up the hill, going away from the coast, and all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, we got to turn around. So I turned around and take a left, and also we pull in right to the main way of Saint Scholastica, and we're like, holy shit! It looked massive. It looked so regal, and it was just a massive 2 brick like columns and towers. It was like super freaking cool. So that looked so beautiful. So yeah, they're known for that. And first off, Bob Dylan. I mean, it's the birthplace and where Bob Dylan spent the first 6 years of his life is Duluth, Minnesota.
He's born in Duluth, but his family lived up in a little mining town.
Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song.
I know he's not on like the average person our age's radar, but Bob Dylan's from there, and he was a historic figure in the artistic community. Also, like down by the shore, they got Canal Park, and they're known for the aerial lift bridge, which is super cool by Canal Park. And then they're also known for, Duluth is known for being kind of the start of the North Shore trip. But yeah, it's the start of the North Shore trip, so a lot of people do that. Speaking of people heading up there for events, grandmas. Now, I can't believe I forgot grandmas, man. I knew about grandmas before I even knew what grandmas is, man. And I'm always a fan of grandmas, baby. But I was like, but grandmas. So if you don't know what grandmas is, grandmas a bar and restaurant right by in downtown there by the shore. However, it hosts a big event every year called Grandma's Marathon, where over 16,000 people head up to Duluth and be a part of that event. And I think they run a marathon and they have a weekend of drinking, man. They just have a fun time. With that being said, I think many times in the episode I also talked about sea level. So no, the whole lake by Duluth is not at sea level. So I think, I'll look it up. Yeah, it's actually not at sea level. You know how I said like Duluth was at like 700, 750, what they said like the average? But like with Superior, Wisconsin, so the twin port, the other city right across, the whole flat town, the whole flat city is somewhere around like 620 to 640 feet. So I imagine that's pretty equal to the lake level. Because I get it, it's not a sea, so it is a lake. But I was thinking that, but still, Duluth has these dramatic changes from that 700, sea level at that shore level to boom, 1,400 feet at the peak of its airport. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. But I did feel stupid about that. And I'll get better. That's the whole point of this, and that's the only reason I added this in is because I didn't want to forget it. Back in the day, I probably would have skipped over it, exported the video, and just sent it out anyway. But I feel like I had to do Duluth a little bit of justice. Staying on that side of Duluth, the Superior, Wisconsin side. Superior, Wisconsin is also known as the manufacturer of AMS oil. AMS oil is a very, very large brand. You've seen them in any oil store, any auto parts store. Yeah, they're a big company. And they also, across in Duluth, they have the AMS Oil Stadium, which in 2010 opened up and replaced the Duluth Entertainment Convention Center, and that is where the men and women's University of Duluth hockey plays. If you don't know anything about that, University of Minnesota Duluth hockey, they do a very good job, like a very, very good job. They're D1 and they're top tier every single year. And I believe actually, when was the last Winter Olympics? It wasn't this winter, was it? Was it? Maybe it was. Okay, but I think the Winter Olympics before, I believe the goalie from the UMD, she was out there playing for the U.S. team. So, that's pretty cool. I can't forget that, man. I can't believe I forgot that. I'm sorry, Duluth, but hopefully I'm paying you respects now. Staying down there by the shore, the Great Lakes Aquarium is the only freshwater aquarium in the United States. Also, they have, I didn't say this one, but apparently somewhere in the city, they have the Lake Superior Zoo, which is an all year round zoo. Didn't know that either, but that's super cool. Down there by the shore, that's where the downtown is, and where it's really busy. They had a helicopter flying out of the hospital too, so they got all the different resources. I forget about that, Because like I was saying, I was talking about earlier, I think in the episode, you leave, the north suburbs of the Twin Cities, and then boom, it's just nothing, But like I said, in California too, it's the same way there. Not really San Diego to LA. I mean, there's a lot there, but I guess if you go more inland, you're gonna get nothing. Nothing is in inland California except for a few desert cities. Otherwise, it's just mountains and desert. But if you were driving from LA to San Francisco, it's a bunch of farmland. It's a bunch of just nothing. So yeah, you just forget that sometimes towns exist. It's like, where do these people come from? But hey, it's a town of 80,000 and probably a surrounding metropolitan more than 100,000 people. So they got enough people to get some stuff done. Also the thing we took advantage of, they got over 45 miles plus of biking trails. And then they also have 35 different scenic hiking trails. So that was what we did for our stuff besides the podcast and then, just a few stuff downtown. But our activities both days were hiking and finding cool trails. And God, was it so beautiful, man. That literally changed my whole summer, man. I'm actually very excited because, I'm the one of those people who I can't leave too long, I got works to do. I got work to do. I can't hop on a plane and go somewhere unless I got work that I can do there because I'm just so antsy and I need to prove myself. I don't know. Anyway, but just to be able to go, hey, you're going to be able to have vacations this winter, or this summer, and maybe into the fall too. You're going to be able. There's places in Minnesota, Marshal, you can go and like. You literally, or I'll speak for myself, I literally felt like I was somewhere else. It looks totally unlike Minnesota. I know everything looks like Minnesota and acts like Minnesota, the people and how we dress and the buildings, but the city landscape and the views and the rock, the exposed rock and the vastness of the deep lake, it was just super cool and super methodical and relaxing. We, the last 3 hours we were hiking, we literally got into my car from the hike and then just drove home. But those last 3 hours we kind of spent alone. We each just went. I think it was an accidental. I think somebody got lost, but it was nice just to relax and just be alone and just sit down and overlook the views and views you don't get. I don't get. It's in other parts of central Minnesota, flatland. But yeah, it was absolutely beautiful, and I loved it, and I will definitely go back, and I will definitely rave about it. And just another thing to prove me wrong that my state isn't shit. It isn't boring. I gotta leave. It's actually pretty fun. It's just kind of my mindset. So that's really it. I just had to interject that because I had to do a little bit of justice for Duluth. And without me holding you on anymore, let's get back to the episode. Here's an interesting fact I thought that was cool. In 1869 to 1870, Duluth was the fastest growing city in the country and was expected to surpass Chicago in only a few years. When Jay Cook, a wealthy Philadelphia land inspector, convinced the Lake Superior and Mississippi Railroad to create an extension from St. Paul, our state capital, all the way to Duluth, the railroad opened areas due north and west of Lake Superior to iron ore mining. Speaking of hills, bitch, Maple Grove. That's the metropolitan area that I surround. Dude, if you just look right behind Maple Grove, right behind the Arbor Lakes Mall chain that looks like any fucking city that you've been to, downtown Chicago, stripping malls, downtown, not New York, not tall enough buildings, but in LA, Austin, Dallas, Orlando, looks like any rich city. Right behind it looks like there's goddamn mountains because there's so much mineral mining here. I don't know if it's everywhere, but yeah, that's what basically that whole chain. I know like that's what Red Wing is still known for. That's what Hibbing was known for. Like it's known for the iron ore. It's known for its natural resources. And it's crazy. If you're familiar with central Minnesota more, even the smaller town outside of Maple Grove of Elk River, they have this massive plant behind it that literally looks like fucking mountains because of the decades of, moving stuff around with those big ass payloaders and whatnot and making nails and shit. So it's actually kind of interesting-ish. Actually, now that I'm talking about that, just thinking like normalized stuff. I was just talking to my buddy the other day, and he's from my hometown, and we were talking about how normal it was to us to have a power plant. Like we had a power plant with two massive 200-foot, they're like coal filter chutes, so it's just like steam in our energy plant that was in our town. Like, it was in our town, like every single day. Whether it wasn't cloudy, it was cloudy. And they were beautiful, fluffy clouds that we always looked at, and we never thought anything of it. Right next door is like 13 little nuclear plants. Like, that was like literally, we grew right by that. That was our town. We had like different incentives for property taxes. We had less property taxes than some of the towns behind us because we had a power plant and a nuclear power plant at that as well, just right next door. Like, my mom had to have like the special gas masks. Like, when COVID came around, my mom was like, oh, we know all about these goddamn getting those masks, like N95. And I think maybe it was N95s, but I think like there was like the ones with the canister and stuff, because when my mom first moved there, it was around that 2000 earlier. So I think it was before 9/11, but still, there was like, terrorism was a huge thing. That's not anymore, but it's interesting just growing up and seeing that too. Like you'd be amazed. Like, you think it's a mountain. It's a man-made mountain. These mining sites, just a lot of mineral, a lot of gravel sites. A lot of them are gravel sites and stuff. But I don't know. I imagine they have it the most ethical way possible. I got support and faith in them. So making that extension from St. Paul to Duluth opened up to iron ore. Duluth's population of New Year's Day in 1969 consisted of 14 family. Halfway through the year, by July 4th, there was a 3,500 population. That's so funny. That's just goes to show you where people migrate to. People move to where work is, people move to where shelter is, and people move to where other people are, and that's, again, where other people continue to move. Yeah, Duluth has been called the San Francisco of the Midwest, alluding to San Francisco's similar water-to-hilltop topography. In just 2012, actually, didn't know this, in June 19th to June 20, Duluth suffered the worst flood in its history, caused by 9 inches of rain throughout the course of 30 hours. So I imagine Duluth has good runoff. I mean, the hills are just absolutely dramatic and they're everywhere, but no, I hey man, natural disasters. I was just talking about you today. My family, my blessed family, just went out to western Minnesota just on this Sunday here, where my uncle lives, who's a farmer, and they went there to help him out because that was on Sunday, but the Friday before that, they had some nasty weather, picking up winds of 90 miles an hour, 95, 100 miles an hour. There was some hail and stuff, and my uncle had this massive pole barn shed. So sheet metal, 120 feet long, 60 feet wide, a massive shed that he housed 2 combines in, massive combines, a tractor or 2, and his planters and stuff. So imagine, he needed some room. And it was at his work site. He doesn't live at his work site. So then I think he wakes up Saturday morning, he rounds that muddy corner at his house, and all of a sudden he's like, I see the combines. I see all the equipment I have, but my shed's gone. And his shed was just chucked and all over, and they haven't planted yet, so it's kind of a rush, right? You want to plant as early as possible. So he had the family out there, and they all had equipment and stuff, and they went out to fields and stuff and grabbed that sheet metal and tried to pull it off the field so him and his neighbor, he got in his neighbor's yard, him and his neighbors can plant, man, so they can start their year of growing. But yeah, like speaking of like even the 2012 flood, right? I even saw another one too, that Duluth, because it's so north and it's right off it's got a good topography and it's right off the lake. They don't have a lot of tornadoes, but they actually had a tornado. Confirmed tornado about 10 years too. And it's so funny. You can build your house, you can build your land. I think someone's described a sandcastle to the human body. Same type of thing, right? You can work as hard as you want on the human body, but it just takes a little disaster and everything's off course. I know it's not a natural disaster. Maybe it is for your body when you're trying to get jacked and stuff, and all of a sudden it just goes off the wagon. Like, you can try as hard as you want to build that nice sandcastle. You can make an amazing sandcastle, but just one little wave comes and that thing is fucking ruined. And that's kind of what I was thinking about with that. But hey, that's a good opportunity to rebuild, build it a better way, build it a stronger way. I know my buddy, he does concrete siding, which is called stucco. That's what he does for his day job. And he always talks about, he goes, yep, nobody wants to have us because nobody wants to have us, especially here in Minnesota. We get bad weather, but we don't get ridiculous weather like they do in Tornado Alley and down south, where they need the stucco. The stucco's concrete siding. It's hard, but it's about 5 times the price. No, it's about 2.5 to 3 times the price. However, it lasts, on average, 5 times as long. The typical vinyl you have on your house maybe lasts about 15, 20 years. Again, depends on your weather. If you live in Texas, man, that hail will just smash right through that. However, stucco will last a lot longer. I mean, it can last 100 years. You can have a stucco house for 100 years. That's the houses he works on when he goes down to the Twin Cities. He He works on homes built in the 40s, built in the 50s, and then a little bit after that maybe, but then they started to get cheap like they did with a lot of different things, and they build them not necessarily to last. But anyway, he's saying, hey, everyone's looking at the price, but they're not looking at the cost, which are two different things, right? So the upfront price, let's just talk about that. Let's use the example, dumbass. Come on, let's use that example. So you look at the cost of stucco, you look at the cost to vinyl your house. Let's just make up an arbitrary number. Let's say it costs $20,000 to vinyl your house, and then it costs $50,000 to stucco your house, right? But that vinyl's only going to last 20 years. So then you got $1,000 a year. But that stucco is going to last 100 years with a little bit of repairs. Let's just say, let's just leave it. Let's just a little bit of repairs and 50 in total after 100 years. $50,000 in total. That's $500 a year. That's half the price, technically. It's half the total cost, I should say. So the price up front, but the cost in everything with it. It's kind of like the same like buying a car. Like, you see the price on the sticker when you're going to buy a car, and you want to buy the cheaper price car because the higher price car is maybe $2,000 more. However, that higher price car has half the miles, half the issues, and it comes from a reputable brand. Next thing you know, you buy that cheaper car, that price up front, and then that fucking thing's a beater. It's always breaking, always falling apart. The battery don't work. The shocks are bad, everything XYZ. And you got to stick more and more and more money. And then the cost at the end of the day ends up costing you more. But again, it's kind of like that instant gratification thing and the process thing, trusting in the process. And like, the old fucking, I think it's Abe Lincoln quote, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree. I'll take the first 4 to sharpen my axe. He's not taking that instant gratification to just start going at it. That's a virtue in itself, though, to be able to just trust that within the process, trust within yourself, trust within the work that you put all that time in, that something's going to happen, something good's going to happen out of it. And again, maybe something good will always happen. We just have to change our definition of what we find good. I always think about this podcast as a great example. I want something out of it all the time, right? And it's like, well, what do you actually want? Do you want big numbers? Do you want it to be your job, right? Is that what it is, XYZ? But it's like, well, what do you get out of it? What is the good you do get out of it? Well, self-expression. I get to make content. I fucking love making content. And again, I want to have a professional career that does something with a camera, does something with editing, does something with film, and I get to practice this on a weekly basis. So there's a bunch of good things that come out of it. And just like that, maybe I do this podcast, it never blows up and gets me to be, not blows up. I hate that word, right? I can't end up doing this only. I'm making $1,000 a week off this, and that's all I have to do. Like, that's great. I live frugal. That's all I need. $52,000 a year doing a podcast like this. Oh my God, would I be living life. Live right, invest a little bit of money I got left. Oh my God, yeah, whatever. But to have trust in that can sometimes be difficult unless, again, I have it in my mind that that's not what I get. But at the end of the day, because I practiced it and did it so much, I ended up getting the professional career in this realm. But it's all because I actually did the podcast in the first place. So, it's kind of like that thing I hear about sometimes with like athletes, college athletes especially. Going back to Kenzie on that last podcast, not something she is concerned about. But what about somebody who's not like the top? What about somebody who knows they're just here to just play for college? That can be kind of tough. I imagine there's some that have the good attitude. They go,
hey man, I'm just here to have some fun, man. When I'm done, I'm done. I ain't worried about nothing. It is what it is. Rock on, rock and roll.
Oh my God, someone's got a goddamn surfboard. What are you surfing here, man? Look at these goddamn waves. Or is it a kayak? I see paddles. Oh, maybe it's just a stand-up paddleboard. That could be the same thing. Anyway, but because I did all this podcast and stuff, it ended up getting me a career within this because I learned so much stuff by doing this. It's just oh, never mind. I was talking about athletes. God, that damn. Yeah, I got some paddle boards. That's so fucking cool. It's not warm out today, man. I would not be in the water, man. It's like 50 degrees. I'm here with if you're just listening, I got a sweatshirt on and a beanie on. It's nice in the sun, but it's like 48 degrees. But no, it's just like athletes. Like, I imagine some got the attitude like,
hey man, I'm just here to have my time, have some fun, man. I love playing this. It's an outlet. It's athletics. I get to self-expression, self-improvement. I get better. This is dope. However, I'm not going to make it to the NBA, and I'm just going to have fun.
But what about those who always thought they were going to make it? Always. And then they have this identity crisis. They go, maybe their freshman year, they're like,
dude, I'm not even the best player on this team. How the hell am I going to make the NBA? What the fuck? I was easily the best player in my high school town, but I ain't shit compared to this team.
And then, if you have maybe it's a weak mind, but I don't want to cast judgment on it. You're just like,
hey, what's the fucking point of this? I'm not the best team in here. I'm not going to go professional. I don't know, man. I don't want to do this. This stuff's hard.
D1's hard, D2's hard, even D3's got their own fucking challenges sometimes, man. It's more than just a student, you know, to be a student athlete. It's a little bit more than just being a student, so maybe it's difficult. I don't know. But yeah, maybe it's just trusting that process. Kind of makes me think about this year, man. This was tough. This was fun. It took me a little bit to get out here, man. That's why I'm just happy I got this beautiful view, is that it took me a little bit to get out here, man. I had to climb some goddamn rocks. Marshal's putting his fucking work in, man. So, I don't know. Again, I trust the process. I think this is going to be one of the most beautiful podcasts, especially visually, man. And if you're, maybe I'll post some on Instagram. Oh, I got a new Instagram, too. It's no longer Audio Smiles, which was like my production thing. And I don't need that no more. But it's basically just TMKS clips on Instagram if you're ever interested in that. You know, the abbreviation for the Marshal Kramer Show clips. TMKS clips. I do a little bit there. Still a little bit of work again. Even that part, like the marketing part. The marketing part's like arguably the most important part in getting your stuff out there. It doesn't matter how talented you are. If no one knows who you are, just marketing's the same thing with getting recruited. It doesn't matter how good of an athlete you are. If you're not seen by the guys, you're not going anywhere. And but it's the part that I have because they already put so much time in this other stuff, and I get so lazy with that, and I go, oh, now I'm going to spend money and time marketing, and no one's going to watch it. I'm just going to be, oh my God, I put all the extra time, and nothing's going to happen from it. But again, that's just my negative Nelly. That's my pessimistic side, because gotta have faith. Because I gotta have faith. Gotta have a little bit of faith in just some sort of process, man. Whatever process it is for you, you gotta have some sort of faith. I mean, maybe you don't. Have whatever the fuck you want, but I find it so difficult elsewise. Hey, if y'all from Duluth, ever been to Duluth, what the hell are these winters like? Think friggy Californians. Think of San Francisco type hills, but then imagine in the winter where there's ice. Like my buddy said, I don't care how much 4x4 you got, I don't care how much tread you got, or you know how dope those tires are or those brakes are. Ice is ice, man. Ice is ice. Yeah, I come from farmers, man, and not even just ice, man. Mud. Like, it doesn't matter how fucking big you think those goddamn tractors are. You get that when they step on ice or when they step on mud, they lose so much weight and they can't get traction to the bottom, and they're just literally subjected to physics. Literally just subjected to the typical physics. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really have too much else to talk about. I'm just glad I got out here, man. Hey, I hope you learned a little bit about Duluth. I really like it, man. I'm going to do a little bit more traveling and check out other parts of Minnesota, checking on the people and stuff. You know, maybe I'll throw some other things in here to make it a little bit longer of an episode. But sitting here now in this beautiful view with the sun in my face and the camera on me and mic in my hand, I think it's a wrap for me today, man. Like I said, check out the beach creatures. They suffer from skin disease. They also suffer from these things called insecurities, and they feel that giving themselves a nice toasty brioche layer will be that key to locking in a mate, which they also find one of their purposes in life. Humans, beached human here, wild male human. And that is me, Roger, sending it back down to you in the studio. All right, here at the Marshal Kramer Show, I am Roger Stevenson. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, my friends, take care. And scoot boot, toodaloot.